They laughed at him. They said a poor boy could never change his fate. He had no shoes, no money, and no name that anyone remembered. But he had something the world couldn't see, a fire inside him. And that fire would one day light up the whole world. This is the story of the poor boy who changed his destiny. In a dusty village forgotten by time lived a boy named Aaron. His home was a small mud hut with a leaky roof and broken walls. When it rained, the drops fell on his face while he tried to sleep. His father Raghav worked breaking stones on the highway and his mother Mina washed clothes in town. They barely survived, but Aaron never complained. Every night before sleeping, he whispered to himself, "One day I'll build a roof for my parents, one that never leaks." Every morning before sunrise, he fetched water from the village well, helped his mother with chores, and then walked 5 kilometers barefoot to the government school. His feet often bled, but his spirit did not. While other kids joked and threw paper balls, Aaron stared at the blackboard like it held the secret to another world. He wasn't just learning letters, he was learning how to escape. One afternoon, his science teacher, Mr. Dev, noticed him sitting under a neem tree reading a torn book after class. The boy's focus was unshakable. Mr. Dev asked gently, "Aaron, why do you study so hard when life here never changes?" Aaron looked up, eyes full of quiet fire. "Sir, maybe life here never changes because nobody tries, but if I change, maybe the village will too." Those words touched something deep inside the teacher. From that day, Mr. Dev became more than a teacher, he became a mentor. He gave Aaron old notebooks, dull pencils, and a small lantern so he could study at night. That lantern became Aaron's sun in the dark. Every night when the village went silent, he sat near the door, reading under its weak light until his eyes burned. When the lantern ran out of kerosene, he studied under the moonlight. Sometimes, when clouds covered the sky, he simply closed his eyes and revised everything in his head, whispering formulas and English words like prayers. His father didn't understand. "Books won't fill our stomachs," Raghav said. "Come with me tomorrow, help me work, you're old enough now." But Aaron smiled and replied softly, "One day these books will feed everyone in this house." His father shook his head. "Dreams are for rich people." Aaron only said, "No, father, dreams are for the brave." Time passed and life grew harder. One summer, his father fell from a scaffold and broke his back. He couldn't work anymore. His mother cried silently at night and Aaron's heart broke watching her hide her tears. He was 15. He left school and took his father's place at the construction site. The hammer was heavier than his hands could bear, the sun harsher than ever, but he endured. Each swing of the hammer echoed like a heartbeat saying, "Don't give up, don't give up." At night, when everyone slept, he studied again, dusty books, tired eyes, and bleeding hands that became his life. The world gave him no reason to believe, yet he did, because inside him something whispered, "Pain is temporary, change is forever." Months passed, then one morning he saw a poster on the school wall, a scholarship exam for poor students. The winner would study for free in the city. Aaron's heart raced. It was his only chance. That night he prayed, "God, give me just one shot. I don't want money, I just want a chance." He studied every night after work. When his hands trembled with fatigue, he tied them with cloth so they wouldn't fall asleep. When hunger distracted him, he drank water and read louder. He wrote answers in the dirt because he couldn't afford notebooks. Finally, the exam day came. He reached the town center wearing his only shirt, washed and ironed with a stone. His heart pounded as he took the paper. The questions were hard, but not harder than his life had been. When the results came, his name was at the top. The entire village celebrated. For the first time, the boy who used to walk barefoot to school was going to the city to study. His mother hugged him tightly, tears soaking his shirt. His father, lying on his cot, smiled weakly and said, "Go, son, make your destiny." The city was another world. Tall buildings, rushing people, glowing lights, everything overwhelmed him. At night, he slept in a tiny room shared with 3 others. He ate once a day to save money, but every hardship only sharpened his hunger to succeed. He spent hours in the library learning things that once felt impossible: computers, physics, English. People laughed at his accent, his clothes, his silence, but Aaron didn't care. He was no longer running from poverty, he was running toward purpose. Years rolled by. Aaron graduated top of his class in engineering. During his final year, he built a low-cost water purifier from recycled materials. It won a National Innovation Award. Reporters came to interview him, and one asked, "How did you manage all this coming from a poor background?" Aaron smiled and said, "When you come from nothing, everything becomes a reason to fight." After graduation, he received a job offer from a big company, but instead of taking it, he went back to his village. The people were shocked. "You left the city job, why?" they asked. Aaron smiled and replied, "Because my dream wasn't to leave poverty, it was to end it." He started teaching village children for free, using his savings to buy books and solar lamps. Soon, others joined him. Together, they built a small learning center named the Lighthouse. He taught kids that their circumstances were not their prison. "You are not poor," he said, "until you stop believing you can be more." Over the next few years, the lighthouse became famous. Journalists came to write about the engineer who returned home. His story spread across the country, donations poured in, and he used every penny to build more centers in nearby villages. He became a symbol of hope, a reminder that destiny is not written by wealth but by will. One evening, as the sun set over his village, Aaron sat beside his father, now old and smiling. The roof above them was new, strong, and shining in the fading light. His father looked at it and whispered, "You did it, son. You really changed your destiny." Aaron smiled. "No, father," he said softly, "I just believed when everyone else stopped." Years later, the government awarded him for rural education reform. Cameras flashed, people cheered, but Aaron's mind went back to the small boy under the broken streetlight, holding a torn book, promising himself that one day he'd build a roof that never leaked. That boy had kept his promise. Standing on stage, he looked into the audience and said, "I was once told that dreams are for rich people. But I learned something. Dreams are for anyone who dares to keep walking when the road disappears. Don't lose hope, not today, not ever." The crowd rose in applause, but Aaron didn't see them. He saw his mother in the front row, tears glistening in her eyes, whispering the words she'd said years ago when they had nothing. "I always knew you could do it." And that night, as he looked at the stars above his village, Aaron finally understood. Destiny is not something you find, it's something you create with every choice, every struggle, and every moment you refuse to give up. Because sometimes the poorest boy carries the richest heart. And that heart can change not just his life but the world.